little tour, so you can see here maybe in the back practice space. We have our old MCI Sony desk over there, and the old books, libraries. This is where we practice acoustic, and here you can find the garden, winter garden, with the chickens in the back, the old 300 years old barn, and the pound, the green room, and the very top now we can see the Pyrenees mountains.
What you've just shown me, where you are, where you live, where you make music, where you grow food and do everything that you do. Was it an early decision to kind of walk down this path? Did you kind of decide, okay, we're not going to do the standard musicians thing and follow the dream, go to the big city and all that stuff. We're gonna do it the way we want to.
So yeah, first of all, we were both musicians and live in a houses, and we were just doing our own small, vegetable garden. But traveling the world, playing a lot of countries like China, lot Asia, and went to South Africa. Then we
Mm,
realized how bad was the effect of the globalization on the world.
sure.
So our way of doing was, okay, let's do something. Let's and we could rebuild a farm, the farm that Laurent's grandfather were doing, but
Mm,
they had to sold it to get to the city to have a better, comfortable place to live.
sure.
But we could find abandoned farm and make it live again.
Mm,
So we did that, and we say, okay, that's a challenge. And the idea of that was to be self-sufficient, and that is for us, it was our contribution to create a sustainable world. So
mm,
we could play the music and also farm,
mm,
where we were. So create local richness where we were, grow our own food. So no pressure on the music results, no
mm,
pressure on the garden. So that was a balance. And it appeared that it was way more profitable for us because
mm,
we created local richness, social richness, because we
sure.
had to go and ask the neighbors to help us at the farm because we couldn't do that, only two of us, even
Right.
though Lauren's wife Natalie, who is also part-time working for the band, helped a lot. But also we had to go and bring the neighbors, the friends, when we need like people to do some works, because we don't have a big mechanical stuff at the farm. We have
Sure.
tractors, but small ones. So when we have to plug the geese, for example, or whatever, we have to call a lot of people. So it was creating social richness. And also, we saw that this system was very sustainable for the planet. I
Mm,
mean, it was creating more life around us, like the swallows came back, the soil was better. And so we said, oh, that's a good way of doing. And aside of that, we could focus and still be inspired writing songs and playing music. So that was a good way of trying to live, and we feel, I mean, uh, peacefully
mm,
peaceful with this kind of system
right.
because okay, some people are say, yeah, you're musicians, you take plane, it's not good and stuff like that. We say, okay, but in another hand, we are growing our own food, so we don't spend too much nitrogen,
Right.
on getting food. So it's a balance.
But I think it's a very healthy way of being creative when it's not you're not dependent of it for your income, or you, like a lot of people will tell you what to do or try to steer it in a certain direction. It's a very free process, I imagine.
That is true because you don't think about, oh man, I got to play this gig because
Mm,
I need money to pay my bills. It's okay, I'm gonna play this gig because it is a good gig to play in. So you think different. And also, I gotta put out an album because we gotta go on tour. No, no,
right.
no rush. We're gonna make an album, and then if the album is good enough, then we'll put it out, and then we'll go on tour.
Mm,
So and in that way, yes, you are free. I mean, artistically, you are free. You're not forced to do things, because it's no rush. We have time.
right. Now, this might be a little bit of a stretch, but are there similarities to farming and creating music? Because the way I see it, when you make music, there's a seed of an idea. You have to cultivate that seed and turn it into something that eventually, yeah, is good enough or is nice. So how do you see that process of creating a song? And does it have similarities with farming?
Well, it's not totally similar, but I mean, one feeds the other. I mean,
Mm,
because we were okay, let's farm, but we realized that farming inspired us on writing songs, and
okay,
the way we are farming is similar to the way we are making music.
okay.
So in that way, yes, that's true because we don't. The approach at the farm is not the approach of somebody who would do only agriculture,
Mm,
in his farm.
right.
So in that way, yeah, we have similarities, and also we are independent on the music as well on at the farm. That's
Mm.
the main idea. The goal is this.
What is the way you work then? How do ideas for songs come about? Is it just because where you sit now, it's in the farm. So is it
Yeah.
whenever you have an idea, you can go upstairs or something and just try to work out that idea?
Yeah, exactly. Uh, all most of the songs are mainly written with acoustic guitar and
Okay,
singing. So it's not me, it's Laurent. He say, okay, Mathieu, let's see, I got that idea. Let's do. And so we sit all together. We try to do something. We can record some pieces, and it goes like that. And it's been inspired by what we experience here at the farm. For example, on the new Ninth Horizon album,
mm,
all the songs, well, pretty much all the songs are inspired by what we experience at the farm. I
sure.
mean, we had to face climate change. We had to face, agro industry pressure, as well as green bashing, as well as we've been inspired by the swallows flying in the sky. So all that, you can find all that in our lyrics.
Mm. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things, and we'll get to some of them in a minute. But first of all, what because I think in the bio as well, it was mentioned. This is perhaps the most personal album because of what you just said, because of everything that is on the album is very close to you. Actually happened. It's something you experienced. So what allowed you to put that into music this time around, to kind of really focus in on what you experienced?
Well, it's just it came like that. I mean, we haven't thought about, oh, let's
Okay,
do that. No, we said, okay. Oh, we were very angry, about the the industrial farm building not far away from here. So we said,
right.
well, we're hungry, so let's So I mean the song was there. We had the music and let's put some lyrics on it. And yeah, according to Vance Powell, who produced the album, he said that it's the most personal album because of what I've just said. I mean, we experienced it very closely. So, when we had to take the geese and put them away during a bird flu pandemic,
Hmm.
it was like a storm night. It was crazy. So naturally, it came into a song. And so that's why when we sing it, you can feel that it's true
Mm.
because we actually lived it like that.
Right. This is Saving the Geese, the song Saving the Geese. But
Yes.
also, am I right in saying, and I'm not, because I tried to read some of it about it on the website, but that the way you operate the farm, it's a very novel way, or an interesting experimental way of doing it, and that none of the birds got sick, and now a professor from a university is kind of studying the model that you use to farm.
Yeah, it's yeah, because we had to fight not to kill our geese
Hmm.
because of the bird flu pandemic. You know, the law wants that if there is a case, they just make a 3 kilometer circle and they kill every little
Right, right, right.
domestic birds inside. And we say no, we don't want that because if you kill our reproducer geese, then we won't be able to do anything else.
Hmm.
And there is not any more geese in that with this GNA because it disappearing.
Okay.
So we called the this professor of the Toulouse vets. He came, visited the farm, and said, "Okay, here it's a really clean environment to grow and raise geese." So he said, "No, let's protect them." And so we are an exception. And but every year, every time the bird flu come, I mean, is around, we have to be very careful because now the bird flu travels, in the air.
Mm,
So we have to put the geese very far away from the factory farm just
okay.
next to us. Even though we fought to say, no, we don't want that building to build here
Right.
because they're going to put us in danger. But, well, we didn't have the law in our side. So the building is here. And we have now to be very careful when there is something going on.
Mm. And you mentioned kind of this happening, and that fateful evening. Does it help writing a song about it? Does it help you kind of get the frustration out in a way?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, because our first move would be to blow the building
Right.
away,
That's the
but
first
no,
thought, yeah.
yeah, but to say, okay, if we do that, ah man, we're gonna spend some time in jail. There's no way, what for, just for a factory farm? No. So let's write songs about that and people will listen to it and at least know what's going on. And we are convinced we are right. And
Mm,
because we were saying those building factory farms won't be sustainable for sure. And that's what the professor, when he came, he said, okay, your system could be more sustainable, even
mm,
though we need to feed the planet. I mean, people. So we need a lot of farms like you, which is true.
mm. But are you, and then we'll get back to the album, but I just find this interesting. But are you optimistic about the future in a way? Because there is a song, 9 Billion Solutions, which kind of talks about we as the people kind of have the power. But are you hopeful? Because for some reason, global warming and its effects is still doubted by so many.
Well, we are optimistic in the way that the solution belongs to people.
Mm,
That's, yeah, indeed, because of the song 9 Billion Solutions. But we are also realistic. I
mm,
mean, it's going to take some time for people, new generation, to change and to move in a different direction. Uh, that is why also we did the farm. Is we want to make sure that this farm will be helpful for new generation
right.
when they're gonna need to know, to learn the knowledge of how to grow vegetables or raise animals, because we are convinced that animals and vegetables have to be combined to
Mm,
be sustainable and to grow, proper food. So this farm will be kind of a rock farmer school for the next generations.
mm.
That's the idea.
In that sense, is it important in a way for you that people not only enjoy the music that you make and have a good time with it, but also kind of learn something?
Maybe, yeah, well, maybe not learn, but if they can think about it, just,
Mm,
that's yeah, kind of we are doing that. We do this is how we do. We sing it. Let's just take it and do whatever you want with this. Maybe later it will, you'll get an idea and do something for your family or whoever else, and that's the idea of that. We don't
mm,
want to, we're not like preachers or something like that.
right.
It's our way of doing, which is really adapted to where we live also, because you cannot adapt this exact same system somewhere else. I mean, in
Mm,
the Netherlands, obviously you'll have to adapt the system,
sure.
not the same, with not the same animals, with not the same vegetables and so on. So we wish that people who come to the show, they enjoy exactly the music, but also enjoy the meaning of this
Mm.
music. And to us, that's what is rock and roll. Rock and roll is meaning and the music.
Well, that's an interesting point because there's obviously a song called Rockphobia on the record, which kind of questions what is rock and roll these days. And then
Yeah.
running a family farm is more than just playing rock and roll. So it kind of alludes to that as well. So, what is your idea of rock and roll? And has it changed from when you were, let's say, 18 and wanting to become this musician and where you are now? Has your idea of rock and roll changed?
Yeah. Well, our idea of rock and roll is still the same, but
Yeah.
I mean, rock and roll now, is not in the same place. It moved to a different place. Like as we say in the song, rockers now are more the farmers because it has to face climate change and factory farm pressure and greenwashing and stuff like that. Or it's also in people who suffers, like in some hip hop guys. There are more rockers than actual rock bands now.
Mm.
So that's just what we wanted to say and make a joke about Iggy Pop, saying now he's in Paris. He's a crooner.
But like you say that, and you hear this in recent years, you hear this a lot more. That rock is not necessarily a style of music; it's more of an attitude to life and more of a way to see things.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we think.
And then you mentioned Iggy Pop. So how did that reaction from that little sentence that he says at the end? Well, how did that reaction from him come about?
Well, when we were recording this song, Vance Powell just suggested that we should send the song to Iggy and try to have his answer on that.
Mm,
And as we knew the French manager of Iggy Pop, because he's related to, here in Montmartre, there was
mm.
the first punk festival in Europe in
Okay,
1976 and 77.
okay.
So these guys was kind of the promoter of this festival, and so he knows Iggy Pop manager. So we sent to him, who sent to the management, and Iggy just listened to the song and liked it. So he just replied, "We say, okay, do whatever you want," and so he called and say what he said at the end of the song.
Oh, that's really cool. One last oh no, there's pretty much two songs I want to still talk about. The Armchair Activist. I find that a very interesting topic because in today's modern world with social media, it's really easy to kind of put a picture of something up on your profile and say, okay, I'm an activist. But what was the origin of that song? Where did that song come from?
Yeah, well, it comes from there. It's because to react and to act, as we said, we're more acting people
Mm,
instead of just talkers. So we rebuild a farm and make it live. So it's our say, okay, stop talking, do something for the planet. that's all about that.
Mm.
Not criticizing people or whatever.
Sure,
It's good, but it's good to act and like go and plant a tree.
sure.
That will help.
Well, it's I find it interesting. How did the two of you kind of arrive at this very environmentally aware position? Were you raised in this way, or was it just a realization, as you mentioned, at some point in your life? How did you kind of fall into this appreciation of nature and kind of finding a sustainable world?
Okay, well, we both grew up in farms,
Okay,
actually. Even it wasn't our parents' farms, but our grandfather,
okay,
farms. So we grew up in those farms. We saw the nature, was surrounding us every time. So we had the seed,
mm,
and then, as I said, traveling the world and seeing, how fucked was the world because of the globalization. We say, okay, that's we realize, okay, Mother Nature needs, more sustainable things like farms and taking care of the environment and all of that. And we are like, and especially here where we are, because we live like in the Landes in France. It's
mm,
one of the biggest forest, pine
okay,
tree forest. So we are surrounded by nature. We have the ocean nearby. We have the Pyrenees Mountains.
mm.
So it's all about nature. So naturally, it touched us.
Yeah, I find that interesting. It's I suppose a very busy but also a somewhat quiet way of living, right? You're not involved with all the noise of the city and all that stuff. Do
Yeah,
you
true.
are you because you are musicians, and as musicians you kind of put your music out there and then people will like it or not or all that stuff. Do you are you very aware of kind of that, or are you just making music, putting it out, and then going on with your life in a way?
Aware of what? Sorry.
Now, the kind of are you very aware of kind of uh, the outside world, what they think of your music? Is that something you worry about? Is that something?
Ah, Uh, yeah, of course, we're not worried is not the term, but
Mm,
we are concerned a bit. I mean, because we are, making music for people to play in front of people. So obviously, if nobody likes the music, then we say, okay, let's stop. Let's focus on the farm.
okay.
So we are, yeah, we try to do uh, good and beautiful things. So we put all our soul in the album, hoping that people will like it, so
Mm,
that it will allow us to go on tour and play live. So yes, we are, we care about what people think about the music. We don't care about what professional in the
mm,
music business thinks about our
right.
album. That we don't care. However, we care about what people.
Yeah, no, as you mentioned, it's always a tool to play live, and I think you've played so many shows all over the world. So what is for you the magic of being on stage?
The magic is because it's a very, very special moment that we share with people who are actually here in the
Mm,
venue. And that's a singular moment. It'll be different from a show to another.
sure.
And just for that, share this positive energy is something, there's no word to describe that. It's something you live, you experience.
Mm. Final question then. The title track, Horizon. I read it was a song that you thought of in 2008 or so, or at least 15 years ago. Why didn't it work back then?
Well, it didn't work in the beginning because we didn't have the proper lyrics on it.
Mm,
Because the song was, we had the feeling that this song was strong enough. I mean, but we didn't have the proper lyrics, so we said, okay, let's keep that aside. Let's leave, play shows, release albums, and on this album we went back to writing lyrics on for Horizon, and we had a beautiful lyrics and words which was perfect for this. And it's funny because now it's the time to release that kind of song. It was more accurate. I mean, to release this Horizon song. So that's it.
Do you remember kind of the moment that the lyrics clicked together, that you kind of found it and then thought, oh, finally we have it?
Yes, because the lyrics are so we sing in English, American English,
Mm.
and so the words have to punch, and so when it punches, you know it, because Laurent, when he sings it, you can feel that, oh yeah, that's the proper word at the proper place.
But is this then, and tying everything we've talked about together, then is this kind of the essence of the band then? Because I watched some of your live performances. It's very energetic. You climb on drums and hit everything and stuff. So, uh, but is that it? We talked about the frustration, kind of getting that out through music, and so is that the essence? Just making fun music and that packs a punch and kind of spreading that energy to the crowd.
Yeah, like we are not very at the farm. We're pretty quiet, but yeah, through the music you can express a lot of feelings. You
Mm.
can, express sadness, but also like power. And
Sure.
that when we climb on the drums and we play rock and roll. Rock and roll is very powerful, right? So we use the stage to it's like let's express, no barriers, and let's do it.
And I think you're. I have to double check. I can't see it written down, but I think you're going on tour in April and May, if I'm not mistaken.
March,
March,
we
sorry.
first gig is March the 3rd. We do first a French gigs tour,
Hmm.
and then we go and support Eels in the UK and in Europe, and also
Yeah.
in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, AFAS live.
Yes.
So we're really happy to open for him. It'll be April the 7th.
It's going to be a delight to have you play over here, and yeah, can't wait for you guys to come along. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk with me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for your questions.